Hi, Hemant.
Hi, Shanti.
Your screen is okay. Now it's visible. So today's demo is your second Docker demo, or which one?
Correct. This is the second. First
Second
one
demo.
I did on installing Docker on desktop on Windows and Linux.
Hmm. And you built the image, right? Apache to image
Correct.
was built, right?
Yes.
Okay. So in
Yes.
this demo, you are giving Flask application setup.
Correct.
Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah. So along with the Flask application, I'll also show the another method of creating an image that is more profitable to the companies as well. So I've used these resources for this demo. Docker Hub to basically store repositories or the images in the Docker Hub registry, and application from the Flask project documentation. So as part of this demo, we'll be needing Visual Studios, Docker extension, and I also installed Python on my local Visual Studios. And also have, this is a Windows 10, so I also have a Docker desktop application as well. So there are two parts with one is we'll run the Flask application first. We'll verify that application is running and we are able to create image. And second would be to see how much space we can save on the image if we are using the basic version um, of the base image file. So here are some screenshots for the commands that were used. First one is basically when you're running the Docker file to generate the image. Next is to see the list of containers that are currently running. And third is basically to see all those current images in our Docker desktop that were built. So here are the files. I have a requirements file which has a component like Flask that will be consumed. And on the right is a Docker file um, which has a script basically to direct where this install where this Python has to be installed and how we can trigger this to generate the image for us. And this is the Python file. We're importing the Flask class and giving us a route to launch the application here. And we will also be displaying this function return content on the web browser. And we are giving some port number on which the local host it should be running. That basically the Python code for this. So this is another screenshot for the image. So on the Docker desktop, we can see once the image is created, you can see under containers. Once the image is running, you can see what is the URL, what is the port number that this application is running. You can see this is running on um, Hemant 509 Hey Flask. So just as an example. So once we are able to launch, run the container, we can go to the URL and verify that the Flask application is up and running. Okay, so we have, this is a screenshot basically telling we have used the minimal version of the image to reduce the size. And we are able to generate an image. We can see instead of 1 GB earlier with the default base image, we have used a lowest version which only can use the runtime environment so that we can remove all the unwanted default dependencies that come along. That way, this new image is stored with only 52 MB. So that's a drastic reduction in the size, and it also comes with more security. So again, I also launched the web browser after creating this image with the multi-stage image. So that's pretty much. So now we'll go ahead and try to run the Flask application from the local. So there are two ways you can do. One, you can even launch from the terminal. So if I go ahead and just say Flask and give the name of the application to run, it will provide you the local host and the port number where the application is currently running. So you can see on localhost 5000 port, the Flask application up and running. So now we'll generate an image for this. Docker file. So first we will generate for a full image, and then we'll go to the multi-build option. So I'll just rename this file. First, I'll rename this one to call say txt, and I will rename this to Docker file. This is a full version. I picked up the latest version from Python. So let's create an image for this. I'll say original Flask-app. Okay, the build is complete. We can go ahead and we can check on the Docker desktop. So this is the image we just created 20 seconds ago. It came up with 1 GB. So we'll go ahead and we'll start this image. We'll give some name, say original. Let it pick the host port number. So I'm giving 0 and run. You can see that it's now up and running. Debug mode is on. So if I can just click here directly, it will take me to this URL page saying that your image container is now running, and here is the application.
It's not
Okay.
public URL, right? Local host.
It's not a public URL. No, we haven't assigned. It's only running on the local.
Right.
Okay. So
Done, right?
now so we'll also run now the multi-stage lower basic version of the image that will um, um, give a lot of flexibility of storing, creating an image with only minimal size. So we'll try doing that. So we'll rename this file back to txt, and we'll use the other Docker file, which is using the basic version. Okay, didn't change. Okay, so you can see instead of the latest, it's picking 3.10 Alpine version, which will help us um, come up with a image which is having only the runtime environment, and it will install with this minimal version of the image. So let's go ahead. I will say minimal. You can see the image also created pretty fast compared to earlier version. So we'll go back to the Docker desktop and verify the same. 10 seconds back, yeah, we have a new image in the list, which is only 60 MB instead of 1 GB. So we'll go ahead and we'll try to run this. Okay, I'll say minimal. I'll give port number. It's okay. Okay, let it pick the port number and I'll say run. Okay, I'll go ahead and click on this. Page isn't working right now. Localhost didn't send data, so let's refresh.
Did you shut down the first container?
Maybe yeah.
You have to shut
Let's
down the.
check.
You have to close that.
Yeah, if it's running on the same port, then it won't. Yes. Um, original is exited. It's not running. The minimal is only running. So let's try again. Let me close this on the
Oh, it's
local.
done. Oh.
Okay. The local is stopped, so I'll close this. This is on a different port. Local is saying localhost didn't send any data. Let's see. Again, Docker file. Did it create any errors? Exporting layers. Finished. Okay, let me stop and run the image again, and let me delete this first. Okay, and say mini well and port say 0. Okay, this page isn't working right now. Localhost error empty response.
You can show in container. The server is running Flask application
Yeah,
server from the Linux. There might be issue with the browser because
yeah,
it used the earlier this one. It is referring
right.
to the old local host, I think.
Docker PS, I can see here what all images are there.
Run the
We can see
status.
minimal. Yeah, we can see minimal already created. So 30 seconds ago. Yeah,
So it is running, right? Container is
it's running, just that it's not picking data.
okay. No,
So
that is the
maybe
local this
yes,
one issue. So, okay, because used earlier container, it is still pointing to that. Okay.
right,
If you shut down the system and restart it, it should work. Okay.
right.
All right.
Yes.
So I'll close the call. Can you go to PPT and show the agenda? What all you have completed in this demo? Recap it.
Yeah. So we dockerized the local Flask application. We gave we basically created a function and sent some data to the web browser to display that the Flask application is running. And I also installed some dependency, which is pib. We also needed Python for this demo, and those are the prerequisites that was already installed. And after that, then we also basically created two images, one with full version of Python with all those additional libraries and packages, which generated image with 1 GB, and then we created one more. We ran another Docker file which used the basic version of the Python Alpine version, which basically also generated an image, but with only 60 MB of data. So that way, this Multi-stage builder gives us the option of more security, occupies less space, and it also takes less time to generate these images.
Fine. So stop.
Okay, yes.